Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 160 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng continuously studied the effects of the absorption of the Blood River crystal for half a month. Only 2 days had passed on Blood River continent, before finally getting a good grasp on its overall benefits. Its mysterious energy permeated deep into one's cells, creating a change that occurred from the very essence within to trigger evolution. It caused every cell to be infused with a mysterious special energy. This wasn't genetic energy, wasn't spirit energy, it was something unknown. He only needed to drive this energy. HMPH. Standing topless in his pavilion's second floor, with a snort, he controlled his body's every cell. As he did that, the countless connections from before immediately triggered that unknown energy. Suddenly, a blood-red engraving that seemed simple yet incomparably magical appeared on his chest. When it appeared on his skin, Luo Feng's perception of the world was completely different from before. How wonderful! Luo Feng closed his eyes. Gold, wood, water, fire, ground, wind, thunder, light, time, space. Before his absorption of the crystal, many of the universe origin laws, along with the 2 laws space and gold with which he had some achievements, still felt like a blur. This was completely unlike the golden horned beast, or the Mosha clan body whose comprehension was still higher. However, when he triggered the unknown energy and the engraving appeared on his chest, everything cleared up. Even his control of the laws became somewhat easier. Nightmare, Luo Feng waved his blade, chilly flash of the blade made hearts tremble. World's End, countless and endless flashes, it could stop 10 million enemies. Hatred, a brutal and incredibly savage flash, it could cut through anything obstructing it. Illusion, almost like a drunken warrior randomly waving his blade, yet it also resembled countless blades waving about. Pensive, a blur silhouette accompanied the blurry flashes of the blade. Burial, the final and most savage attack, it made hearts tremble in fear. Dutchman's Pipe, a dance in the face of life and death, hoping it to bloom before death. Luo Feng didn't use his genetic energy to unleash his blade work in the pavilion. His spirit energy formed a protective barrier, at least it guaranteed that his attacks wouldn't damage the construct. This wonderful feeling. Luo Feng opened his eyes. Blood River crystal, it's heavenly. The Blood River crystal's uses were similar to the Mosha body. Even if the Mosha body's comprehension was lower, it could still unleash a shocking amount of power. Also, it made his comprehension of the space laws easier. After absorbing the Blood River crystal, it wasn't just space laws. His feeling for the laws of the gold, wood, water, fire, ground, wind, thunder, light, space and time all felt quite a bit clearer. Or it could also be said that after the absorption, his relationship with the universe laws was much closer, and easier to feel. Since it was easier to feel, it resulted in the Earth body's comprehension speed to rise. As his relationship with the laws gets closer, when he unleashes an attack, the power would be amplified 1-fold. If the Earth human body can only use the 100-thread movement, with the same amount of comprehension, the Mosha clan could unleash the 10,000-thread movement. It's a pity. The Mosha clan unleashing space techniques has 10 times the power. However, with the absorption of the crystal, it only increased by 20 to 30%. Luo Feng laughed. I can't be too greedy. The Mosha clansman is after all the strongest assassins in the universe, they couldn't be joking about that. As heavenly as the Blood River crystal was, it raised his comprehension for all the laws. And when unleashing these laws, his powers all rose greatly as well. By absorbing 1 Blood River crystal, his power grew by 20 to 30%. Blood Warrior. Black Warrior. Luo Feng pondered. Since there's such a saying of the Blood Warrior and Black Warriors, I think, after absorbing 3 crystals, there'll be a special change. Absorbing 10 will have an even more shocking change. Blood River crystals. I have to acquire them now, the more the better. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. The Mosha clansmen were born with certain skills, and absorbing more Blood River crystals could help him get to a point like a Mosha clansman being. Of course, the more Blood River crystals he absorbed, the harder it got. Otherwise, the Black Warrior saying wouldn't just be a saying anymore. Tonight, I'll go take care of the city leader. Luo Feng's eyes were cold. He's the one in Swallow Mound City with the most crystals. Swallow Mound City, General's Mansion. City leader Rockwind Xiong stood looking gloomy on his balcony. Behind him were 8 high-level officers. Speak, where's the general? Rockwind Xiong said softly. I've ordered for him, yet he didn't even reply. I've even come looking for him and he's not here. Just where did he go? His scoundrel friend Pure Feather Chong is already dead, where is he? Back then, Rock-Win Jeon and Pure Feather Chong were indeed the two that played about madly. They did all sorts of crooked activities, they were too numerous to count. Among the two, one was the Pure Feather family leader while the other was Swallow Mound City's general. Who in Swallow Mound City would dare mess with them? City leader, we don't know either. When it comes to the general's disappearance, we all don't know. Right, I think the general snuck out to play, hence he didn't tell us. The 8 high-ranking officers all replied. That bastard. Rock-Win Jeon was enraged. Give the order. The moment anyone finds the general, tell him to get over here to me. Yes. The 8 officers replied respectfully, after which Rock-Win Jeon vanished. Only at this time did the 8 relax. Muttering and discussing amongst themselves, what's going on? Previously, when the general went out to play, I've never seen the city leader that furious before. It's only been 2 to 3 days so far, he's even disappeared for half a month before, and that's considered normal. No idea. However, from the looks of it, the city leader is extremely angry. The general is in trouble this time. The general was in tragic trouble indeed, because he was already dead. Late night. Luo Feng stood in his own study of the pavilion. He was dressed in black armor and boots, even bringing a helmet and mask. He carried behind him a shield and blood-red blade. City leader Rock-Win Jeon, he is close to Domain Lord Level 2, and someone who has absorbed a crystal before. Luo Feng thought. Even though in Domain and Origin laws, I far exceed him, he is still after all a Domain Lord. I cannot be careless. Against Pure Feather Chong, Luo Feng wore only a black robe. Against Rock-Wind General, he wore a simple normal robe and was very casual. Only this time, he was fully prepared. He even donned a mask. Because Luo Feng was very clear that unless he used the Mosha clan, by simply relying on his human body alone, this would be a tough battle. There's no meaning if the battle isn't tough. The more I fight higher levels, the more interesting it will be. Luo Feng smiled. With a flash, he vanished without a trace from the pavilion. Swallow Mound City Leader's mansion, the security was tight. A blurry silhouette was moving through and it was very hard to detect. Swiftly heading towards the city leader Rock-Win Jeon's mansion. Considering that Rock-Win Jeon was the strongest within the city leader's mansion, naturally he didn't use cloud levels, universe level, and sky level, star levels, as bodyguards. Illusionary manual, it's more proficient in assassinations. And I'm after all only a universe level 9, if I use force against him, I will be at a disadvantage. If I can assassinate him, it would be beautiful. Luo Feng gazed at the distant palace. Through the universe space, he could feel that there was a familiar energy within. It was Rock-Win Jeon's energy. Luo Feng wielded the blood shadow blade and instantly vanished. Within the palace, the tall and sturdy Rock-Win Jeon sat in his study desk, and on it were many reports. He couldn't help but smack the table and stand up. He was walking about in the study, frowning. My senior and envoy Mo, it's rare that they pay me a visit. I originally wanted to introduce them to my little brother. I didn't expect this bastard to disappear, and I can't even find him. My senior and Mo have been here for 3 days and are about to leave. If I can't find him soon, the next time my brother gets to meet envoys from the Undying Shrine would be a very long time from now. Bastard, what a bastard. Rock-Win Jeon got angrier as he thought about it. Entertaining the envoys for the past few days, has it been easy? Everything was top-notch and best. Rock-Win Jeon's feelings for the skies and ground were very sensitive. He was able to feel an energy about, immediately roaring, who is it? Rumble. With Rock-Win Jeon as the center, countless lightning bolts shot in all directions. It strangely shot through the palace without any hint of harming anything within, forming a huge spherical-shaped lightning barrier around a 1-kilometer area. A few soldiers and staff were all extremely afraid, however after discovering the lightning ball didn't harm them, they still ran out with fear out of the area. A flash of a blade immediately lit up within the palace, almost like a huge sickle slicing straight at Rock-Win Jeon. Only at this time could he barely make out a warrior dancing with his blades, completely covered in black armor. Get lost. Rock-Win Jeon roared. A large purple sledgehammer appeared in his hand, it rumbled as he swung it. The attack infused with lightning and thunder swung forward, causing the black armored person to dodge it. This mad energy was like countless arrows shooting in all directions, causing rumbles and explosions to erupt all about the palace. At this time Rockwind Xiong's eyes were gleaming with lightning. Holding a huge sledgehammer in each hand, he rushed forward within the palace. Indeed a domain lord level 2, with a level 9 domain and one who has entered the gateway of the Thunder Laws. Luo Feng spit out some blood as he dodged. However, in the blink of an eye his body recovered, his gaze fixed and was once again as cold and collected as before. I'll use speed. Kill him. A roar had just erupted from Rockwind Xiong's mouth, you. However in an instant, an incredibly condensed golden domain was unleashed. Space and gold laws combined, melding with the terrifying domain formed in the universe space. This gold domain was a golden wave with gold properties, which fused with the universe space and immediately pressuring and destroying that thunder domain. Simultaneously around Rockwind Xiong's body, 100 black armored warriors appeared. Every one of them wielded a 6-edged shield and blood shadow blade. Absolute domain, time-space scribbles number 2891 technique, messy void kill. Luo Feng roared within. Space origin laws. Wielding the two purple sledgehammers, Rockwind Xiong was shocked at the scene. Rockwind Xiong, his teacher was a world-level, sector lord, who controlled the surrounding 1 billion kilometers area, Saiyong. Even though the strong were like the clouds here in Blood River World, a sector lord was still a very terrifying existence. Rockwind Xiong being under Saiyong, had very high perspectives and vision. With just one look, he understood that this mysterious warrior was a genius person with high achievements in space origin laws, able to produce up to 100 images. Just a universe level 9 and so powerful. It's simply too, Rockwind Xiong understood that if such a genius were to be discovered by the Undying Shrine, he would definitely be treated as an absolute elite and nurtured. It's a pity that he's the enemy. The more terrifying the enemy, the better it is to eliminate him earlier. Rockwind Xiong stood on the ground with the sledgehammers in his hand motionless. And Luo Feng, who had unleashed his close combat messy void technique, was suspicious. He is after all a domain lord too. Just based on his pure genetic energy and explosive speed, he could very likely survive my attack. Why isn't he moving? While suspicious, Luo Feng began to grow wary within. Over 100 peculiar blade techniques melded with the spread-out gold domain, causing the space around to follow the blade work. In an instant, there was nothing but flashes of blades, almost like the entire space was a dance floor. It was completely pressuring that Rockwind Xiong. While pressuring him, it shrank more, the blade work condensed on him too. Rockwind Xiong was trapped within. It was almost like he was trapped in a little house, and was being slashed at by large amounts of blade flashes. This technique from Time Scribbles didn't have a name, Messy Void was a name he gave it himself. Ha ha ha, a loud laugh resounded. Rockwind Xiong stood his ground, almost as though he was admiring Luo Feng's performance. Rise. Rockwind Xiong's lips curled into a smile, simultaneously assassination weapons rose from all around him. At least 1,000 of them completely covering Rockwind Xiong. Every one of them under the flashes of lightning gleamed like dazzling metals, the arc blade edge was terrifying. What? Luo Feng's expression changed greatly. He had initially wanted to rely on speed to kill him, however how could he compete with the speed of spirit weapons? That was suicide. Go. Rockwind Xiong waved. Immediately the blur of countless weapons covered the skies and shot in all directions. Even though the 100-thread movement was very shocking, making one unable to accurately deduce the person's position, however with countless weapons shooting in all directions, it definitely spelled trouble. Although, using such quantity would diminish the power. However, the enemy was Domain Lord level 2. Any one of those weapons could easily kill a normal universe level 9. Dang. Luo Feng's movement was unpredictable, however the number of weapons shot at him was simply too many. Wielding the 6-edged shield, he continuously blocked 10 of them. Even though he managed to deflect them away, they still affected his movement. Ha ha, Rockwind Xiong's laugh continued. The rest of his dancing weapons all curved and simultaneously headed towards Luo Feng. The air trembled and split apart, as up to 1,000 assassination weapons shot at him. Luo Feng's expression grew heavy, his eyes were staring coldly at Rockwind Xiong. A formless consciousness pressure fiercely smashed into Rockwind Xiong's consciousness. Rockwind Xiong felt a pain in his head. The 1,000 assassination weapons controlled by his consciousness were immediately affected. Without the help of his spirit energy, the weapons swiftly slowed down due to the high air resistance and gravity. They still followed their course and shot towards Luo Feng. He however easily dodged them. Weapons capable of twisting and turning, compared to dumb straight shooting weapons, naturally were much easier to dodge. Luo Feng dodged the weapons. Luo Feng rushed at Rock Wind Xiong. Go and die. Luo Feng had already reached him. The blood shadow blade in his hand had already become an incomparably resplendent flash, cutting straight at Rock Wind Xiong's chest. Killing a universe level and killing a domain lord were two completely different things. From student level to universe level, the soul was definitely within the consciousness. Hence the control chip could at most control up to a universe level. The highest slaves a slave trader could sell was a universe level. When it came to domain lord however, the soul was in the Qi Jian. This was also named the life core. Like Luo Feng, his Qi Jian and internal core had fused into one. Hence, his core was incredibly sturdy. This also meant that eventually breaking through from this internal core would thus be very hard. To kill a domain lord, one had to destroy the life core. However, this life core could be stored in any part of the body. It could be within the head area, consciousness, at the dantian, or even in the arms, chest etc. anywhere. Hence, to kill a domain lord, the first thing was to determine where the life core was located. Due to the consciousness attack earlier, Luo Feng had determined the position already. Dang, a gold light hit Luo Feng's blade. Trouble. Luo Feng's expression changed. He could see the gloomy and mad Rock Wind Xiong. Luo Feng's consciousness was considered Domain Lord Pinnacle, and Rock Wind Xiong too was Domain Lord level. Even though it was weaker than his own, it was still at Domain Lord level. That one attack only managed to shock him temporarily. Consciousness pressure, only when the level difference was huge, would the effect be obvious. Rock Wind Xiong looked angrily at Luo Feng. Simultaneously around him were 3 gold lights that surrounded his body, and then shot at Luo Feng together. So troublesome. A fighter against a spirit reader would naturally be at a disadvantage. But to meet a spirit reader a few levels above me, Luo Feng knew that he couldn't win anymore. No matter how strong his comprehension of the origin laws were, and how powerful his movement was, as long as there was an army of different types of spirit weapons that attacked, there may still be a chance. However, if the opponent was a few levels above, how could he battle? Even the golden horned beast, before training techniques like deities of the world, just using its natural talents, it could at most fight it out with an opponent 3 levels higher, and destroy humans that were 2 levels higher than itself. 3 golden lights as fast as lightning were shot out. Luo Feng's speed, no matter how fast it was, he still couldn't dodge them in time. One beam shot through Luo Feng's throat, piercing right through, and simultaneously the pressure from the shot caused his head to become a mess. Pu Tong. Luo Feng fell. What terrifying consciousness, just who is he? His consciousness is even stronger than mine, and his comprehension of the laws are so high. Rock Wind Xiong walked towards the body. He looked at it and was shocked. What a pity, a universe level 9 actually dared to come assassinate me. Such an attempt is just suicide. Let me see just who it is. With a thought, he ripped apart the mask and lifted the mask to reveal the youth's face. How are you? The youth suddenly opened his eyes, his gaze somewhat apologetic. Rock Wind Xiong's eyes looked down. His chest had already been stabbed by a blade. It had pierced straight into his life core. It was a pity that his life core was but a normal human race's core, and was nowhere as perverted as that of a golden horned beast. Actually, countless human races' cores were weak and fragile. How could they possibly compare to the golden horned beast, which was born with an internal world? When the golden horned beast reaches domain lord level, its internal world spanned over 100,000 kilometers in area. This was much larger than Earth. And a normal human domain lord had just begun to nurture an internal world. To truly expand the world, one had to wait until sector lord level. To be able to support such a vast internal world, how could the internal core not be sturdy? A domain lord level 6 golden horned beast, even a powerful domain lord level 6, would have trouble breaking its core. Just like back then when Hong and Thunder God entered the golden horned beast's body, immolating their souls using the pike and blade to attack its core, yet they couldn't break it. A pinnacle sector lord golden horned beast was invincible amongst the sector lords. After all, it had 3 powerful natural abilities, along with its inherited memories. However, even with all these heaven-sent benefits, there would be a downside. This is also why many generations of golden horned beasts were all getting stuck at the pinnacle of sector lords, unable to break through. Rockwind Xiong stared wide-eyed. At the same time, his body knelt down as fresh blood was flowing from his chest. You stand right in front of me without the slightest amount of vigilance. The moment I attacked you, you couldn't even react. Luo Feng stood up. His throat was already without a trace of the previous injury. He placed his mask back on, as revealing his identity may affect Nabu and his son Na-ku. Through his revealed eyes, he looked at Rockwind Xiong's body. I don't blame you. I don't think many people would have thought that a universe level, even with his consciousness destroyed completely, would still be alive. Luo Feng looked at the body before him, shaking his head. At first, he didn't want to use special abilities to kill his opponent, and wanted to rely only on his universe level 9 abilities to fight it out. However, he didn't expect Rockwind Xiong to be a spirit reader. His final assassination felt a little dishonorable. It's a pity that I didn't bring the Nanshan armament. If I had the Nanshan armament, my strength would have been multiplied, and I would have a guarantee in killing him. Luo Feng shook his head. My earth body really isn't suited for close combat. Following which Luo Feng swiftly scanned the body and found his target, the space item. That's it. Luo Feng quickly discovered an inlaid decorative plate on his waist, and immediately took it down. This metal plate was the storage item. I hope there's blood river crystals in here. The more the merrier. Luo Feng immediately used his spirit energy to pierce into it and began searching. At this time, 1 kilometer area around the palace was in a complete mess. The palace was destroyed, the balcony was broken, stairways were reduced to nothing, especially in the most center. There was even Rockwind Xiong's body, along with the black armored warrior standing there coldly with the plate in his hand. Not bad. Luo Feng revealed a smile. There's 2 crystals. Rockwind Xiong had previously absorbed 1 crystal. Through various methods, he had acquired 2 more to probably increase his chance of becoming a blood warrior someday. Later he got 1 more, and gave that one to his little brother Rockwind Zhon. Killing and robbing, vicious indeed. A cold voice resounded around the space. Luo Feng turned to look. In mid-air, there stood 2 grey armored silhouettes and their expressions were ugly. Late night, within the purple 3-story pavilion of the Pure Feather family. Pure Feather Dao was sitting crossed-legged with his eyelids drooping. However, he was pondering, my information cannot be wrong. 2 special envoys from the Undying Shrine are in Swallow Mound City. However, Rockwind Xiong, that bastard definitely wouldn't let me meet them, This is troublesome. How can I contact the envoys? Rumble. A mad energy wave fiercely traveled from the northeast, causing Pure Feather Dao to immediately raise his head. His eyes were peering in the northeast direction, his gaze becoming 2 beams of light that shot through the pavilion's closed windows, destroying them in the process, revealing the beautiful scenery outside towards the east. A 1-kilometer-tall thunderball was floating within the city leader's mansion. Lightning flashed about and lightning snakes danced about. This scene caused Pure Feather Dao to be in shock. It wasn't just Pure Feather Dao. Everyone in Swallow Mound City was stunned, as there wasn't any construct 1 kilometer tall in the entire city. Hence when the thunderball appeared, especially in the dark night, it was extremely visible. Without any obstruction in the 100 kilometers area, almost everyone could see it. What's going on, for that bastard Rockwind Xiong to unleash his domain? Did he meet a powerful warrior? Pure Feather Dao was shocked, and fiercely rushed out of the house. Standing in mid-air and looking at the northeast direction, his expression changed constantly. Just who in Swallow Mound could make Rockwind Xiong go all out like this? There are no other domain-level warriors, and with the presence of the 2 envoys from the Undying Shrine, who would be so deranged as to attack at this time? Don't tell me, he's even battling the envoys. As for the strength of the envoys, even Pure Feather Dao didn't know much about it. To become an envoy of the Undying Shrine, one had to at least be a domain level. As for if they were at domain level early stage, mid-stage, late stage, or at the pinnacle, he wasn't clear. Better be careful, I don't want to be dragged in. Pure Feather Dao carefully flew over, not daring to release any energy or aura, in case the enemy detected him and thought of him as an enemy too. He had to be careful. As Pure Feather Dao didn't have a backing, the moment he died, the Pure Feather family would be finished. Being old and not dying was important, and Pure Feather Dao was very clear on the importance of him being alive. Actually, the battle between Luo Feng and Rockwind Xiong, at their level, it was usually settled within 1 or 2 seconds with tens of exchanges. During the entire battle, including Luo Feng's final stabbing, the thing that took the longest was his final blade attack, because he needed to wait for Rockwind Xiong to walk over. The entire battle only took about 10 seconds. The air split, lightning shot in all directions, energies flew madly, golden energy waves glaring. The luxurious pavilions, flower beds, etc. were all immediately destroyed and scattered all over. The entire city leader's mansion was thrown into madness and fear. Pure Feather Dao, however, sneakily approached, as he wanted to be cautious. When he hid behind the collapsed palace and watched from far, Luo Feng had just taken the storage item. Storage item. Pure Feather Dao's eyes immediately went red. Rockwind Xiong's countless treasures are within. Since he is the favorite disciple of that world city leader, he definitely had quite a bit when he became city leader. All his treasures are inside. And that black armored man, his energy doesn't seem that strong. Do I kill him? Pure Feather Dao gritted his teeth, staring hard at the distant black armored man. Hesitation. Second guessing. I will kill. Pure Feather Dao's eyes were red. If he didn't make a move now, when would he do it? Just as he was about to rush out, in mid-air 2 grey silhouettes appeared. The grey armor they wore was the proof of their identity as special envoys of the Undying Shrine. Also, the energy they emitted was terrifying. How powerful. These two are definitely stronger than me. Pure Feather Dao's expression immediately changed. These two are probably both at pinnacle domain level. His ambition and greed from before were immediately reduced to nothing. I'll keep watching and see if there's any chance to get anything. Pure Feather Dao hid his aura and hid. When one reached the domain level, Domain Lord, and one's core becomes that life core, Qi Jian, one could completely hide their aura within. The outside world couldn't detect it at all. Just like how several scanning devices could scan power levels, they could at most accurately detect from student to universe levels. As for Domain Lord and Sector Lord levels, they couldn't fully detect. Unless the opponent releases his aura. How powerful. Pure Feather Dao's eye muscles twitched. Dressed in black armor and boots, along with a helmet and mask, Luo Feng was fully dressed. These two, Luo Feng looked up at the two in grey armors floating in mid-air. These two were obviously enraged, since they willingly released their terrifying auras. At least Domain Lord level 7 or 8, or even a Domain Lord level 9. How troublesome. Yes. Simply just troublesome. Luo Feng had not wished to ever use the Moshe clansman, mostly as a means to train himself. However, the moment his life was in danger, would he stupidly wait for his death? With the Moshe clansman's strength, especially with its ridiculous space law's strength unleashed, if he wanted to flee, these two had no way to stop him. Two sirs, must you make a move? Luo Feng looked at the two in mid-air. Ha ha, you've killed my junior. Are you implying I should simply let you go? The handsome middle-aged man roared angrily in the night. The auras of the two special envoys from the Undying Shrine were terrifying. I didn't expect this. The other man communicated mentally. Brother Yu, my apologies, I didn't expect this to happen too. Old Mo, it's not your fault, I was careless. The handsome man was bitter. During these 2 or 3 days these two had been entertained extremely well by Rockwind Xiong. Especially tonight, because he had invited the legendary mermaid from the Demon Ocean to sing for them and entertain them. This mermaid belonged to the highest of women in Blood River Continent. They could remove their tail and take on human form. The moment they touched water they could regain their tail again. All of them could sing extremely well. It was the most absolute pleasure. However, these mermaids could only be found in the Demon Ocean. Demon Ocean belonged to a terrifying region of Blood River Continent. To actually catch a mermaid alive was incredibly hard. Hence, one single mermaid in the continent alone would result in many powerful figures fighting and chasing after her. They were envoys of the Undying Shrine. Normally they wouldn't have much free time in their hands. Yet, this time they actually managed to see a mermaid. Naturally they didn't mind getting comfortable. When these two were extremely comfortable, they suddenly felt a large energy exploding in the distance. At that time, they were simply too lazy to move, because they believed that within this area, there wasn't anyone who would dare mess with the world's city leader Tsai Yong's disciple Rockwind Xiong. They believed that Rockwind Xiong could settle it by himself. Later they felt that the energies were too strong and overpowering. Due to the rumbles and explosions, the two of them left their beds unhappily to take a look. By the time they reached their destination, Rock Wind Xiong was already dead. Within the city leader's mansion, the atmosphere immediately changed. You are not my targets. I'm too lazy to kill, so don't force me. Luo Feng looked at the two in mid-air, and immediately rushed into the sky, trying to flee. In mid-air, the handsome man roared. He simultaneously communicated to the envoy beside, Old Mo, he killed my junior. So leave this matter to me. Help me by keeping any eye on him. I'm worried that this punk will suddenly find a way to flee. Please don't let him escape. Brother Yu, leave it to me. Relax. Envoy Mo nodded. Having been treated well and entertained by Rock Wind Xiong the past few days, now that he's dead, Envoy Mo definitely wanted to avenge him as well. Luo Feng rose into the skies. Simultaneously the handsome man's killing intent rushed over. Luo Feng frowned. You are really forcing me. Since you wish to die, then I'll send you to hell. The Mosha clansman within his internal world had already fully resembled Luo Feng. He was also wielding a blood shadow blade and dressed in black armor, shield. These were not considered high-level weapons at all in the virtual universe company. They were all custom-made for his stay here in Blood River World. As they were cheap, he had ordered 10 at the time. Should there be any breakage or faults, he could use another. Switch. Luo Feng thought. The earth body Luo Feng swapped instantly with the Mosha clansman within. The earth body entered the internal world while the Mosha clansman remained outside. During the switch, Luo Feng was flying swiftly. So, it was impossible to see clearly what had happened. He hid his energy. Chasing him swiftly, Yu Envoy could feel the black armored warrior's aura go from a universe level 9 to suddenly nothing. I'm at a pinnacle domain level. Unless he is world level, he will die without a doubt. A blade appeared suddenly in Envoy Yu's hands. He swiftly caught up with the black-armored Luo Feng. He shouted with rage, you sure got guts. In this side of the world, only me and my brothers kill others. There's never been a time where we've been bullied. Go and die. Rumble. The Mosha Luo Feng's lips curled into a smile. That incredible feeling within the universe space, it was like a fish in water, an infant in a mother's embrace, it was very comfortable. That feeling of almost being one with space made Luo Feng clearly sense the mad and powerful aura rushing from behind him. I guess he's really domain level 9. The Mosha Luo Feng smiled coldly. Strongest assassins in the universe, along with my study of the 9 universe primal chaos tablet. I'll let you see my power. Mosha Luo Feng closed his eyes. That mad energy rushed straight at him, and just as it was about to reach him, the envoy's eyes were filled with rage and killing intent. His lightning-fast and powerful slash sliced the black warrior before him in half. However, after the slash, his expression changed greatly. Something is not right. There was no blood, or any feeling at all from the black-armored warrior he had just slashed. He simply dispersed. Where is he? Is he so fast that I can't even feel him? Envoy Yu was extremely terrified. Brother Yu, behind you. A fearful voice entered into Envoy Yu's mind. Envoy Yu spun around quickly. Behind him the black-armored warrior was looking at him. Simultaneously, he saw the flash of a blade. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.